Welcome to Soul Spirit Stories, where every story touches your heart and reminds you that life can change in the most unexpected ways. Today's story is about love, redemption, and the strength to stand tall even when the world tries to push you down. It's called Ex-Con Takes Girlfriend Out for Dinner, Thugs Mock Him. The night was calm, the city lights painting soft reflections on the wet streets. Aidan adjusted his collar nervously as he glanced at the restaurant sign glowing ahead. It wasn't fancy, but it was the best place he could afford. After all, this dinner wasn't just any date. It was his first night out with Emma after getting released from prison. For 6 long years, Aidan had dreamed of this moment. The world had changed, and so had he. Gone was the angry, reckless man who used to fight to prove himself. Now, all he wanted was peace, and to prove to Emma that he was truly a better man. Emma smiled warmly when he held the door open for her. "You look nervous," she said gently. Aidan chuckled. "Yeah, maybe just a little. It's been a while since I've done something normal like this." They found a quiet table near the window. The place smelled of grilled steak and warm bread. Soft music played in the background. For a moment, Aidan felt normal, like maybe the past didn't define him anymore. But peace never lasted long for him. Across the restaurant, a group of young men sat laughing loudly. One of them, wearing a leather jacket and gold chain, noticed Aidan. His smirk widened. "Hey, isn't that the ex-con everyone was talking about?" He whispered to his friends. Aidan felt their stares burn into his back. He tried to ignore them, focusing on Emma's voice, her laughter, the sparkle in her eyes. But the laughter from the other table grew louder. "Look at that guy," one thug sneered, "trying to act all fancy, taking his girl out like he's some kind of gentleman. Bet he paid with stolen money." Emma's face tightened, but she stayed quiet, squeezing Aidan's hand under the table. She knew he was trying to stay calm, trying not to let anger take over like it used to. Aidan took a deep breath. "Ignore them," he whispered. "I'm not that man anymore." But when one of the thugs walked over and slammed his hand on their table, everyone in the restaurant turned to look. "Hey, tough guy," he sneered. "Didn't they teach you manners in prison? Or are you still learning how to behave in public?" Aidan's jaw clenched. Emma stood up, her voice steady but firm. "We're just here to have dinner. Leave us alone." The thug smirked, leaning closer. "Oh, so she's defending him now? Careful, sweetheart. Men like him never change. Once a criminal, always a criminal." The words sliced through the air. Aidan's hands trembled. For years, he had been trying to prove everyone wrong. But moments like this made him realize how heavy redemption really was. Still, he stood up, slowly, calmly. His voice was deep, steady. "You don't know me, and you don't get to judge what kind of man I am." The thug laughed, shoving him lightly. "What are you gonna do, ex-con? Hit me? Go back to prison?" The entire restaurant watched, waiting for Aidan's reaction. His mind flashed with memories of the cell, of endless nights spent in regret, of his mother's tears when she visited him behind bars. He had promised himself never again. Aidan took a step back. "No," he said quietly. "I'm done fighting people like you," the thug snorted. "Yeah, that's what I thought. You're just scared." But then something unexpected happened. The restaurant owner, an elderly man, came out from behind the counter. "That's enough," he said sharply. "You boys need to leave." The thugs laughed again, but before they could reply, 2 men at another table stood up. "You heard him," one of them said. "Get out." It turned out not everyone saw Aidan as a criminal. The group of thugs, realizing they were outnumbered, muttered insults and stormed out. The restaurant grew quiet again. Aidan stood frozen, breathing heavily. Emma reached out and touched his arm. "You did the right thing," she whispered. He nodded, his voice low. The old me wouldn't have stopped. "That's the point," she said softly. "You're not that man anymore." Aidan sat down, his heart still racing, but for the first time in years he felt proud. He didn't need to prove himself through anger. He had proven it by walking away. Later that night, as they stepped out of the restaurant, the air felt lighter. Emma looked up at the stars. "You know," she said, "people will always talk. But the only thing that matters is who you choose to be now. Aidan smiled faintly. I used to think strength was about fighting. But tonight, I realize strength is about control, about choosing peace when you have every reason not to. She slipped her hand into his. And that's why I believe in you. As they walked down the quiet street, Aidan looked back at the restaurant sign one last time. It wasn't just a dinner, it was a test, and for the first time he had passed, he had walked in as an ex-con, but he walked out as a man who had truly changed. Because sometimes redemption doesn't shout, it whispers through the choices you make when no one else would blame you for losing control. And that night, under the dim city lights, Aidan realized that the world might still see him as an ex-con, but Emma saw him as something else, someone worth believing in. Thank you for watching Soul Spirit Stories. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories of hope, change, and second chances. Because every soul deserves a story, and every story deserves a second chance.